Jonah believed he had escaped the Lord's command as the ship sailed steadily across the vast open sea. The coastline of Israel faded into the distance, a thin line against the horizon. For a brief moment he felt relief, free from the voice that had weighed on his heart, free from the task he had refused, free from the destiny that now seemed unbearable. He clutched the railing of the ship and stared into the endless waters, trying to convince himself that Tarshish, distant and foreign, would offer safety and concealment. But even in that fleeting calm, a shiver ran through him, an invisible hand reminding him that no one can flee from the presence of the Lord. Though his feet moved swiftly across land and sea, his spirit remained tethered to the call he had tried to abandon. Without warning, the sky darkened. Heavy clouds rolled in, blotting out the sun, and the wind tore across the deck with sudden force. Waves rose like towering walls, crashing against the ship and sending barrels and ropes flying. The sailors, men hardened by years at sea, shouted and scrambled to secure the rigging and cargo. Each cried to his own God, desperate for mercy. But the storm only grew fiercer, the winds howling, the ship groaning under nature's wrath. Jonah sank to his knees, gripping the railing. The weight of the storm pressed not just upon the ship but upon his soul. Fear clawed at him, not for his life alone, but for the lives of the sailors who had done him no harm. They were innocent, yet caught in the consequences of his rebellion. Below deck, exhausted and drenched, Jonah sought refuge from the chaos. Sleep offered no comfort. The sound of waves crashing, the shouts of terrified men, and the groaning timbers pressed in. The voice of God echoed relentlessly in his heart, a reminder that he could not escape. The captain, drenched and wild-eyed, descended below and found him. Grabbing his shoulders, he shook him fiercely. "What are you doing, sleeper? Call upon your God. Perhaps he will hear you and we may yet live." Jonah lifted his head, the truth heavy upon him. "I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. I have run from him. This storm is because of me." The sailors gasped, fear and awe mingling on their faces. The waves battered the ship, relentless in their fury, and the men clung to railings, powerless against the sea. "What shall we do to you that the sea may calm for us?" they cried. Jonah's voice was calm but filled with sorrow. "Take me up and throw me into the sea. Then the storm will cease. I know this is my fault." The sailors hesitated, unwilling to cast a man to his death. They rowed desperately, straining with every muscle, hoping to reach land, but the storm refused to yield. Wave after wave slammed into the ship. Lightning split the sky and thunder rolled like a mighty drum, shaking their bones. Jonah watched, knowing there was no other way. His hands trembled as he faced the inevitable, yet a strange peace settled over him. God's plan could not be thwarted. Finally, the sailors lifted him and cast him into the raging waters. The sea swallowed him immediately. The wind fell silent and the waves calmed, as though the ocean itself obeyed God. The sailors, awestruck, bowed their heads and offered sacrifices to the Lord, marveling at his power. Jonah sank beneath the waves, darkness wrapping around him. Cold pressed from every side, seaweed tangled around his limbs, pulling him deeper into the abyss. His lungs burned, panic rising like fire, and for a long moment it seemed as though he would never breathe again. Yet even in the crushing darkness the Lord had prepared a way. From the depths a massive shadow approached, a creature unlike any Jonah had imagined. The great fish opened its jaws, drawing Jonah into its immense belly. Swallowed yet alive, embraced by darkness but preserved by divine providence, Jonah floated in silence. Here, in the belly of the creature, surrounded by the unknown, he would have time to reflect, pray, and prepare for the next step of God's plan. Even as he descended into the unknown, Jonah realized that no storm, no sea, no shadow of fear could thwart the Lord's will. His rebellion had brought danger, yet God's mercy had found him. Salvation awaited, and the path forward, though hidden beneath the waves, was already prepared. Jonah had run from the Lord, but the Lord's hand remained upon him, guiding him even in the darkest depths.